Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and today is Monday, May the 6th. Um, I'm struggling a little bit with my back today. I hurt my back this morning, and just one of those fluke things. So I've really been struggling to sit here today, and it's been slow and methodical. And I almost didn't do a chart lesson today, but I took me some ibuprofen, and I'm feeling a little better. But I'm going to make this fairly quick today and call it a day and get out of this chair because my back is just feeling so bad. But let me show you what I saw. As the day opened, this is Friday's price action. We were kind of hung in that. And you see we had a failed breakout the bottom, a failed breakout the top, but then we continued higher. So we kind of had a channel here, and I got my channel off the highs and then drug it down. And at first I had it here, and you can see we kind of got a bounce there, but I believe it really was down here later in the day, and we got the break. And we're moving to a new high, but I'll tell you how I got, um, if you measure these first two legs, you see you got a measured leg there, and so that's what I was looking for as my target, just above 1616, and it looks like there's a chance we may still get there. There's about an hour left in today's trading, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But that's what I saw as the channel. We had the break and then the move to a new high, and we didn't quite get the target. Will we go higher from here? I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me that we don't run up here before the market closes and reach that high. But there was another way to get this same target, and if you look at the original range size and you go up, you see I get the exact same target almost. So that's why I was looking to stay with this until that, but we really struggled to go any higher from there. And we do have a pullback going on here now, but will we go higher? It's just hard to say. Um, we've really got a second entry short here, a double top. We made a lower low, and so it looks a lot like a reversal pattern. We'll just have to wait and see. It's really risky probably going long right here this late in the day. But I felt the same way here, but you had to follow the rules, and the rules tell us to stay with it, and you stay with it and you see what happens. So, that's one reason I say follow the rules and stay with the rules and don't argue with them, because they'll keep you on the right side of the market. Notice this bigger correction we had here. If you drew your trend line, you can see that it was holding prices. We got a break, a retest, and then prices took off again. And so again, we're looking for our target of 1616. So we'll see if we get that, or if we're done and going to come up short or not. And I got that target two different ways, so I feel pretty confident in it. Doesn't mean we'll get it, but that's where I would look for prices to make it before this day is over. So let's talk about the trades again. When I first came in, I was looking at my lows here and my highs here. We had this break right here after just right after about 7 o'clock. This is not really a great reversal bar, but I felt like prices were going to come back and at least test these highs. That's generally what happens on a failed break lower, and you see we did break lower and close higher. And what I did was use the limit order to get in here. Once we broke above this, I dropped it back here. I was able to get filled, and you could have still been riding that runner if you hung with it. Prices never came back to get it, but you got a better chance to enter right here. Okay, I'm sorry, I had a slight interruption there. My son's car's broke down, so when it rains it pours, and he needs a ride. So I'm struggling today. It's not my day, but anyway, I just told you about this trade. You had a failed second entry short here that reversed, and again, this is kind of a range day, so you're looking for prices to test the high. A nice bar right there. There's plenty of room to get out up here. Again, you might have tried to use a limit order, but you couldn't. That's a nice reversal bar right there, so you didn't want to be too antsy above it, especially with that trap. And this goes on up and goes right where you're thinking. Test the high, and then you get a second entry short. Again, I tried to get short with a limit order here and couldn't get it filled, so I dropped it down here at the last second. I was able to get it filled, and then we kind of moved on down. At this point it really was a range day, so I think this trade was okay. Um, and then notice we got a first entry long, a second entry long, and so this looked like a failed second entry, but there's just too much overlap right there, and I was afraid that we might have this channel working here too. So, because that's where I had it at that point. So I felt it was really risky going short there, so I didn't go short there. I didn't like as much going long above this bar, but this is a short trap. Notice this, first entry long. It looks like it's going to be a failed long trap, and then you got your first entry short right here, then a second entry short, it fails. So a break above that gives you a chance to go long at the lows, and you kind of got a double bottom across here too. Notice that if you move this up to right there now, you got that one little tick drop. You might have even had it right there, double bottom across there. And so with that short trap, I felt like that was a pretty good long, and it did work out. I drew this one in green because of all the overlap. It didn't take off like I thought it would, and so then it was really suspect. But then you get a second entry long off the failed break lower, and you still got enough room to get out. Plus, it's looking like this is probably a channel, and so you might have taken that trade. So I drew it in green because it was a little more aggressive, but you can see it worked out. And then we get another break above the little double top here. There was a breakout pullback long here, but I really don't like that because there's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 overlapping bars before that triggers. You can see it didn't go far, and you might have even considered going short, but by this time, now that we've gotten outside the channel here, or the possible range, I'm not sure what kind of day it is yet. It looks more now like a rangy kind of channel day, but you've certainly got a channel here that's in play. You can see we've turned off of it every time, and now we've turned off of it at the lows, and you got a first entry here that fails. We come on down, but we break on below that. So then I'm thinking, hey, maybe we're coming back down here. But you got to get through this area first, and when we couldn't even get back down to it, once you saw all those closes right there, that's a sure sign that they're protecting those lows right there. And you had this little doji. If I hadn't entered right there, I'd probably say wait on this to the second entry. But I didn't have a second entry yet, or I didn't have, when you just had the little small inside bar, it was worth taking. Okay, my son again, I'm sorry. But anyway, once these other bars formed here, I would have been a little more leery about going long above that because it's probably going to snap back, and just wait and see what happens. But I went long right here, had my stop 2 ticks below this. Never even, I kept getting worried. We kept trying to go lower, but it never was able to break lower. Then we went higher. Then this is a breakout pullback long. Somebody sent me a note right here saying that they took this second entry short trap right here. And I didn't see that as a trap. It depends on where you got triggered here. This is really a short trap, but my entry trigger was 10, 16, 10, 50, and you see we made it all the way to 75. So we got enough for your scalp, and then it pulls back. I could have maybe seen it go lower, but I don't really see that as a strong short trap or long trap. It really turns out to be a short trap, and you got a higher high here. Notice how your closes, nothing could close down this low, and now you get your closes are a little bit higher, and we don't even get back down there. That's a higher high, a higher low, a break above that bar, and off it goes. And we were looking for a retest of the high because it looks like a channel here. Even though it had a rangy look, it's just been a slow, low volume day. And now I'm even more convinced that my channel was right because we got the break here, a couple of legs up to a new high, and we're selling off. So that's exactly, what you expect to see. So I like that second entry long. This one was a little bit more questionable because there's not a good signal bar, but there's a you got a second entry long. It's basically a two-legged pullback. We're back inside the channel. You can see it working up through there. And I'm thinking the channel really is down here. And you can see that was a one tick bounce right off the channel. So depending either way you put it, it's still held. And then we moved to the new high, and I was looking for, again, the two targets that I showed you earlier. And so that was what really led me to hang on and have another entry there. And then it's just been too slow since then. Nothing's really set up. You might have considered a short up here, but there's no good setup, so you'd be really risking an entry that late in the day trying to go short when the trend's been mostly up all day with, only one real big correction. And that's a big enough correction that I saw that as the center of the move. And so being the center of the move, there's your first leg up. There's two legs in that, but on a bigger picture, that's one leg. And so I was looking for that for my target. And we may still make that yet. We may break right here and then run up to it. Who knows? But it looks like we're probably going to get back down here and either test these lows or test this area right here again. So we'll just have to see. There's not much time left, about 45 minutes. But that's what I saw for today. It's an uptrend. It's a weak one, but it's still an uptrend. If you followed the rules, which, it started out, the rules started out as a trading range. And so if you're following the rules, that should have kept you long up to here. And that should have put you into this short. You may have missed these two entries here. I might have even drawn this one in green, but I really liked it simply because you got the trap right there. And really I saw this line is there because there's the closes. We bounced off up. We got that break higher that trapped everybody, but you don't want to be going short right there at that where you hadn't been able to get through there, especially if you thought the trend line might have been there, which at that point I was using the closes just in case because it was kind of coming off the closes up here. And that might still be right. You don't have to, I always tell you, you don't have to get this exactly right. The angle's the more important thing. And if you're finding the right angle, you can oftentimes find multiple places that it might end up being when it's not so clear, when it's not a real strong trend. So either way you did it, you still get the same thing for the most part. You can see the bounce off that trend line, the bounce off of it there. So it still looks the same to me either way. So depending on how you saw it, but this market just keeps going higher, and I'd be real careful. I'd make sure that we're selling off before you go short. And that was the reason I didn't like this short, because we've seen how many times we've bounced and gone higher when it looks like we've had a failed break higher lately. And I didn't like going long up here on a day like this. So you wait till it comes back down and find some support before you go long again. And this one, I started to draw this one in green, but we're looking for this target up here by now. And you got a second entry long. It's a two-legged pullback to both the trend line and the EMA, no matter how you drew that trend line. So for that reason, I was really looking for it to break lower right there and trap everybody and then go higher, but we never could go lower. And so that's generally a good sign too. So anyway, there's more entries than you think in here today, but it's just not a lot of movement today. Kind of one of those choppy, typical days that we used to see. When we didn't get a lot of movement, I like the days we've been having up all last week and the last couple of weeks where we get a lot of movement, and it's pretty easy to determine that you're either going up or down, and you get on with it. And it was a little bit more difficult today. So if you had some trouble today, if you don't have a lot of experience reading the price action, and I can understand. But back to what I was telling you earlier, this is not a short. This is not a good short here because of all this support across here. And it's kind of moving up. Notice how this high is a little bit higher. Of course, you wouldn't have had this high yet, but and your trend channel might have been here. Even if it was here, that's the first break. And so you're still looking for longs, not shorts. And that's what would have kept you out of this short. It might have worked depending on how your chart's set up, but notice all those overlapping bars, and you know what happens when you break out of that. Just like down here, we broke out of it, we snapped back, and then we turned up and went higher. And so be careful entering around all that overlap if you see it. You know, there's sometimes you can't avoid it, but at this point, going short out of it when you're looking for a long anyway is not a very smart move. So stay with the rules. The rules stay until we get a trend line break. We're still looking for longs, and even then, we're still looking for a retest of the high with a new high, and we got that. And it looks like we're trying to go higher again here, so it wouldn't surprise me if we don't find a little support right. Oops, just a little support right across here. That's where we've been bouncing and go higher, so we'll just have to see. But again, notice this little short-term trend line right here. We got the break and then a retest. And that's what you're really looking for. And there really was, it's not as clear over here, but you can see that was kind of the trend line coming down. We got a little break, a retest with a new low, and then we bounced out of there. So that was another reason to be thinking, hey, that little move might be over. And so don't forget to, you know, it's like I said, it's not always that clear. And sometimes it's easier to see after the fact than it is when it's happening. But this one was very clear right here because I sat there and watched it. And I already had my line drawn on there and sat there and watched it. This one might have been a little less clear because you might have thought it was further out here. But even then, notice we broke above it, pulled back and tested, and then we pulled back again. So even if it was like that, but I believe that to be it right there because you can see prices holding in there, and then we break above, then move down. So anyway, draw those little short-term trend lines because they will help you. And even this last one up here, it was kind of right down through there. We broke it, pulled back and tested, and then went higher. And notice this one over here, we hadn't really broke above it yet. So, and it's still holding down here. So I'd be real leery about looking for a long. It's really late in the day. It's after 2:30 now. So in my book, time to quit trading. So I'm going to wrap it up and call it a day. I'm going to go rest my back. I'm going to go pick up my son who's got car trouble. So I hope you had a good trading day. If you couldn't find this channel, just keep working on it. Make sure you find the trend lines, the channels, the ranges, and then follow the rules. And, you know, that's the hardest part, I know, is even when you know the rules, sometimes they're hard to follow. It was really hard thinking long right here because you might have been thinking, you know, range across here. And but you couldn't deny that we had this little channel going up right here. And I know more other people saw it because people sent me their charts and they saw it. So was it hard to trust going long there? You bet it was. But follow the rules because they're generally right. And you can see it would have kept you on the long side and would have taken you to this new high up here. At the very least, you could have gone to here and exited. And that's basically what I did. As soon as we find support, and then I look to re-enter, and that was right there. And that way I don't, in case it does come back, I don't give all my money back. So there's many ways to manage your trade, and that's a big part of it too, is how well you manage your trade after you enter it. And so you'll get better at all that. It just takes time and experience. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.